setting is Paradise Island in beautiful Nassau, the Bahamas. It's the Atlantis Bahamas Superboat Challenge, the final stop on the Superboat International Race Boat Series. Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Hendrick, and many national championships, SBI style, will be decided on this very course here today in the Bahamas. For the different style course and the water and weather conditions, let's go to Stan Lane.
Thank you, Jim. The weather here in the Bahamas ever-changing, much like Key West. Less than a half an hour ago, we had a tremendous rain squall blow through. As you can see, the wind's still very, very gusty. It could wreak havoc with the catamarans. The course layout, 120 miles for the larger boats in super class. Now, the boats will race behind me down this chute in very, very calm water, but then they'll be heading west. They'll make a turn going right, heading out into the open ocean where they could see some big swells and some holes out there. It's going to be a very, very interesting race. The boats actually race around Paradise Island. Right now, let's go back to Jim for the start setup.
Now let's check the competitors in the big Superboat class. Sloppy Joe's Art Gerard and Mike Gerard, father and son team. In Big Thunder, it's Jim Lee. The driver, Bob Morgan, is the owner and the throttle man. Alcone Motorsports, one of the favorites, Matt Alcone, and his throttle man is Jerry Gilbreth. Riveted, James Shade is the driver. Ken Silverman will be on the gas sticks. In Rage, Roger Rex, owner and driver, Scott Mender on the throttles. Jack Herrick in the JH Electric Lip Chip Special. Phil Lipschutz is his throttle man. Mark Berman, Tom O'Connell team up in the Mystifier. Restore shows Forrest Barber. John Tomlinson for this race is on the gas sticks. Joseph Padovano and Larry Goldman team up in Team Pepsi.
Here we go, Jim. We are just about ready to start. Of course, we have a celebrity starter this time, one of my favorite movie stars and TV stars of all time, Philip Michael Thomas. Great show there. You see him right there waving that green flag, of course, a.k.a. Tubbs. Tubbs and Crockett, Miami Vice.
Yes, sir. And here comes the first wave of boats. And we have a good showing here in beautiful Bahamas, Nassau. We're inside the Restore Marine now. Forrest Barber, the driver. You can see the water coming on the windshield as they'll come down the first leg, make the start, take a right turn, as you said, and out to open seas. So the throttle man will have to use those gas sticks accordingly. Smooth water, rough water, timing is everything, and here they come.
Right now we have a clean start. The boats are spread out, but they'll have to funnel down and get very, very narrow as they pass under that bridge. This site, one of the few sites that has a narrow bridge like that. They'll have to be very, very aware of that.
We're looking at Alcone Motorsports, a 46-foot skater. Boy, look at the colors on this one, with two 900 horsepower Sterling Performance Mercruisers.
And he's got those motors wound out now. You saw the boat kind of floating there, going back and forth. That means that he has that thing trimmed out to the edge. That boat is literally flying.
That's the bridge that connects Nassau with Paradise Island. And, of course, the beautiful Atlantis Hotel where we stay there is our race headquarters. And they're getting a good bird's eye view of the course on both sides of the island here today.
You mentioned the Alcone boat. This, of course, is Alcone's other boat, not the boat we're used to seeing. Now, he had this boat in New York, and it wasn't quite dialed in. Right now today in the Bahamas, this boat is leading the way.
This is the area where the cruise ships come in, but they're kind of quiet today as these big, big power boats are racing here today. Superboat International style. And look at the Alcone is now taking an early lead and looks, as you said, trimmed out pretty good.
Well, this is a very, very fast boat. This boat does not have the horsepower that the other Alcone boat has, but the boat is a lot lighter and it's designed so this boat is actually as fast as the other boat with less horsepower.
From our helicopter, we're looking down at Forrest Barber and John Tomlinson, the team in the Restore Marine. They've had a pretty successful year. They're always competitive. They're encapsulated in two different cockpits, and they have radio communications between the two. And as you said, Stan Lane, here's the big right turn now to open seas to go on the north side of the course in the ocean.
This is where they have to really start watching the water. It looks smooth from the helicopter shot, but when you get around this turn now, you're going to hit all the headwind, and the seas are going to change dramatically.
As they come down now, heading to the east for lap one of many, we look at the top of the screen. That's Alcone, the leader, and this boat right here is their leader in modified. The boat to your left is in second place in super, and they're going to go right through the rooster tail. Hang on, who cut over on who?
Well, Restore just went through the wake of Sloppy Joe's, and that can be a very, very dangerous move. Of course, you lose all visibility, not to mention the fact you're crossing the wake and anything could happen.
Now, as you can see, out of the picture goes our overall leader, the Alcone, and right now you have a modified boat on the left. You have Sloppy Joe's, which is a superboat on the right.
Now, these boats are both 40-foot hulls, but the boat on the left is a lot lighter. It's a newer design, a cut-down deck. So the horsepower in that boat, even though it is less, the boat is just as fast right now in the race as Sloppy Joe's. If the seas worsen, conditions worsen, now the Sloppy Joe's boat will have the advantage.
Sloppy Joe's has two 1,000 horsepower engines. This boat we're just talking about, two 800 horsepowers. As we now start the green flag for the second wave. These boats are a little smaller. Some of them don't have canopies. They're outboard power, inboard power. Some, instead of 3, they have 2 in the cockpit. They're going to get a little rough ride today.
Well, that they certainly will. Vito's Team Stalker leading the way, and here's our leader in P69, Notorious, and their canopy situation, one driver in front of the throttle man.
Okay, in line instead of side by side, as coming down now under the bridge, and a little bit, not too fast. We have a little problem here with Kamikaze.
Well, with these P boats, we've said it before, they have 3 engines. Sometimes it's very, very hard to get all those engines in sync. Appears to have a problem there.
As we're looking at a driver, throttle man, and navigator in the Pittman photo going underneath the bridge at the start. They're doing a little chine walk, and they'll go out to open sea very shortly. Here's the only Bahamian entry, Aqua Pure. We've got more coming your way from Nassau in the Bahamas. We'll be back in just a moment. The 1997 Atlantis Super Bowl is brought to you by the Atlantis Hotel and Casino. The ocean runs through it. And by the islands of the Bahamas. It just keeps getting better. Back here in the beautiful green, blue, clear water of the Atlantic Ocean. Off of Paradise Island in the Grand Bahamas, here's your leaders. I'm Jim Hendrick along with Stan Lane. And Stan, water isn't too bad right now.
Well, it is very smooth, and you mentioned the key word, paradise. This place is just like paradise. It is truly a beautiful sight for SBI racing. And speaking of racing, Alcone, he is racing. He's got those throttles to the wall now in this smooth water, and he's proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that this boat can really scream.
We're looking at the Girard father and son team, and Sloppy Joe's averaging about 102 miles an hour after lap number 1. That's about 9 miles off the pace set by 9 miles an hour off the pace set by Alcone.
Oh my goodness, Juan Santiago Kamikaze got a major league problem now. I just hope the drivers are out and safe. All 3 engines are on fire, and yes, indeed, they are on the rescue boat, but this is a potentially very, very dangerous situation.
You're looking at a lot of money going up in smoke right now, and that's burning fuel, and they have a lot of fuel there. But the safety crews have done their job, as they always do, and we'll just have to wait till that fire puts itself out. As we look at the leaders in B class, we're looking at the Indy Blackhawk with Mike Hoffman, Joe Grayson, and Greg Huey, all from Indianapolis, Indiana. And here comes the boats right at you.
This is a great shot. This gives you a true feeling of how a catamaran rides across the water. As you can see, the Alcone boat appears to be going almost sideways. That's because there's very, very little wetted hull in the water.
Very sensitive. You can see right down the hull from stem to stern is James Shade, Ken Silverman, doing a good job in the riveted.
This is an older boat. This boat is made entirely out of aluminum. Of course, it has the pop rivets, which gives it its name, riveted. An older boat, not quite as fast as the newer ones. Oh, that was a very, very tight turn for a catamaran. The Rage boat doing very, very well there, trying to close the gap.
Roger, coming into first place, you still have to battle off the rest of the field.
Yeah, we feel pretty good about it today. I think the waters are going to be our waters. The boat's very fast, and I think we're going to be able to pull it off and get our first national championship, SBI national championship. Any
particular strategy to attain that goal?
I think we're going to come out. We're going to definitely run hard right in the beginning and not slow up until we see us lapping some boats, and basically run the boat as hard as we can.
You're looking at the Rage. We just talked to the driver, Rex, and it's a lead for him, and he's averaging about 92.7 miles per hour here on lap number 3 as he comes down again to complete another lap underneath the bridge that connects Nassau and Paradise Island.
You see the tremendous spectator crowd on hand on the left. There are also the yachts and all the spectators, some of the spectator fleet on the right as well. One of your friends, Bernie Little, is here with his big Budweiser yacht, Jim.
Yes, he has. He's got it right across the starting line. He loves boat racing in any shape. Of course, he and John Carbonell have been good friends for our president of SBI, good friends for many, many years.
Well, so far the water conditions have not worsened as we expect as we zoom in now on B3, Team Hog's Breath, 31-foot cigarette boat, twin 600 horsepower Chevrolet bow tie engines. They're having a very, very good ride today. B class, very, very tight, very, very evenly matched class.
And we're looking at Teams Hog Breath averaging 76.9 mile an hour. Richard Casso, Todd Greger, and Frank Iora are the three in the cockpit.
Very beautiful boat. You see the purple interior. No expense spared on SBI offshore powerboats. Even going down to the smaller classes of A class, all the way to the top. These boats are truly state-of-the-art.
Looks like they're having a regular old conversation there. They're giving hand signals, and one's got thumbs up. They're just going for a Sunday ride right now. The water is much better than I would expect it would be.
Forrest Barber now, John Tomlinson in the Restore boat. This boat has just been a class act all year long in SBI Offshore.
Restore is averaging about 105 miles an hour. As we look at Performance Marine, Patrick Sullivan and his crew. Look at a little chine walk from side to side as the current hits underneath that bridge that connects Nassau with the Paradise Island. Jack Herrick in the GH Electric. Looking very good, and we talked to him earlier about his record so far this year.
We took a first place in almost every race we ran, with the exception of Deerfield Beach. And all we have to do now is cross the start-finish line, and we are number one.
And does number one stand for the fact that you're going to shut it down, or are you going to race?
Oh, we are absolutely going to race. The Mystifier team is said they have our number, but I think we got the number one.
I love his accent. Like he's from Jersey.
Oh, yeah. He's from New York.
Yeah.
There's an electrical company up there, hence the term JH Electric, a lift ship special. And this boat is an old warhorse, been around the offshore wars for a long time, but it's still very, very successful. It all goes back to rigging and preparation. A
deep V hull that we used to call the cigarette style. And for Herrick, he hates cigarettes, so maybe I better not refer to his boat as a cigarette. Here's your leaderboard. We'll be back in just a moment.
I'm joined now by Adrian Archer with the Adrian on behalf of SBI. Always a pleasure to come here. This event just gets bigger and better each and every year.
It certainly does. We are happy. This is becoming one of the biggest events that the islands of the Bahamas have hosted. And I think that our people are thrilled to have you here. We're thrilled to welcome all of our visitors. We're thrilled to welcome all of our media. So come back every year. We really enjoy it. And we love it. Our sun is coming out. And I think we're going to have a really good event.
Looking at the leaderboard, Alcone still in front of Sloppy Joe's in the top superboat class, and not being headed today. They look like they're running pretty good.
Obviously, Matt Alcone and Jerry Gilbreth, their strategy today here in the Bahamas is just to put the throttles to the wall and leave them there. Just see how much distance they can put between themselves and the number 2 boat right there, Sloppy Joe's.
Art Gerard is the driver of Sloppy Joe's. Is he prepared? We asked.
Yeah, I think we're prepared. Everything seems to be going good and all systems are go, and the weather seems to be pretty good. We're putting on our high-speed props because I don't think there's a lot of chop, and I think it'll be a good day.
Randy Roberts did a fantastic job subbing for you, but I know it's got to be nice to be back in the cockpit beside your son, Mike.
Oh, yeah. It's always, Randy does a good job, and I think eventually, someday that Randy will take my job, but not right now.
The Sloppy Joe team, and of course they will represent Key West as we look at the A-class Cannon Pittman Photo Express. They are currently running in second place.
And they're looking behind them, they're looking in front of them because the action in A-class is very, very close, as it usually always is. And this boat right here has been very successful all year long. Patrick Sullivan on the throttles, of course, Performance Marine A68. You mentioned earlier, Jim, the boat doing a little chine walk, and these V-bottoms will do that when they're taken to the edge.
Look at that Performance Marine, Mike Cosell from Pompano, Florida. Mark Sullivan on the throttles. This is a 28-foot power play as we now at the modified class, the Mountain Dew, with Joey Padavano and Larry Goldman. Currently running third, and we asked him about the tight points race.
Yeah, it's very tight. The New York loss was a big loss for us. With that loss, it seems like right now the points are so close. There was only a couple of boats in a few races. This one race is 3 boats. And from what we understand, the third boat which is Lightning Jacks. The only chance we have is that Lightning Jacks is going to have to win or actually beat Restore and possibly put us in first place.
Now we're looking at that Team Pepsi M11. Again, both the driver and the throttle man encapsulated and separate parts of the pod. Here's James Shade with the older boat, as we said, the Riveted. It is a metal boat, lots of rivets in it. We're in the US 1 from last year as they go under the bridge.
Jumping down now into P class, Jim, we see Dan Lilly, of course, the driver of Notorious. Since Kamikaze is definitely out, that boat, I was told, burned to the waterline. Notorious looking very, very good here today.
Another father and son team. The Lilies, as you can see, he's making his right turn. We look at the leaderboard. Al Cohn still leading overall. We'll be back in just a moment. Back to the Superboat Challenge in Nassau. Jim Hendrick along with Stan Lane, and earlier, Stan talked to a special guest.
Celebrity is always a big part of SBI offshore action. Speaking of celebrities, this guy, no stranger to anyone. Star of stage, screen, and TV, and one of my favorite shows of all time, Miami Vice. Philip Michael Thomas, a pleasure to have you here at SBI Action.
My pleasure, absolutely.
Understand you're going to be the official starter for us today.
That's correct.
What are you doing these days?
Oh, just enjoying life, having a good time, and glad to be here in the Bahamas.
It is nice that your former co-star, of course, Don Johnson, used to race with us about 6 or 7 years ago. Any thoughts about getting a boat and racing with us?
I was just talking to John Carbonell about that, and it's very possible.
All right, looking forward to that. Thanks for being here.
It's good to be here.
Of course, the days of Miami Vice. As we look at our leaderboard, once again, Al Cohn and Sloppy Joe's 1-2, and then you can see Restore is still leading in the modified. And here comes Lightning Jack.
Lightning Jacks are pouring the coal to it there. That boat is just bouncing back and forth on those sponsors. Jumping down now back into P class. High risk. Rick Felson, of course, from New York. This is an older boat, but it's been very, very successful throughout the years.
And it's a 32-foot skater cat with 3 280 horsepower outboard engines.
Yes, they certainly are. That boat aptly named High Risk because Rick Felson deals in high risk. He's an insurance salesperson.
He's currently in first place right now, averaging about 85 miles an hour and leading Notorious and, of course, Kamikaze with that fire out of the race. Here's Bob Hamlin in the Patriot.
The S5 Emico Patriot looking very good today. 28-foot skater, twin outboards. And here another S-Class boat. This is a very wicked-looking boat. Of course, the Texaco Haviline, new paint, black and yellow. Skull and crossbones on the deck. These guys are out for a bear today. They're approaching and going under the bridge right now. Earlier, I talked to Wiley about the fact that he's down on horsepower.
Well, it definitely slows the boat down. There's no doubt about that. As long as we get some real rough water, we can run with the guys with the bigger horsepower. But if it stays flat like the conditions are right now, we just went out and tested, it's going to be, it's just going to be a slow day for us. The dependability of the motors that we ran last year have been great, and that's kind of why we opted to go back with the engine problems that we were having with the higher revving motors.
They currently are running in 4th place in class as they give the spectators a little wave out of the cockpit there.
Well, these are avid fans down here in the Bahamas. Jack Herrick, he's known to be a waver, too. He loves to wave at the crowd. I mean, that's one of his main jobs, I believe, in the V-22.
He is currently running first in class, the JH Electric Lipship Special, averaging about 90 miles an hour.
You see the rooster tail that JH Electric Lipship Special is just overtaking now. That, of course, belongs to the Aqua Pure. That's a surface-piercing drive. And you can see the huge rooster tail being put up by that. That, of course, is the Bahamian entry you mentioned earlier, Jim.
Yes, it's a single-engine 750 horsepower, and it's Alan Wardle from Nassau and Joe Sorrentino from Pompano Beach teaming up as here comes the Pittman boat, Cannon Pittman.
A1, which, of course, means they were the national champions last year. They're looking very good today, but they are still behind Performance Marine. They're trying to close the gap on them as we speak.
Look at Restore, past High Risk. There's 2 different boats. This one's the modified. High Risk, of course, is in the P class. This the team of Forrest Barber and John Tomlinson.
Speaking of Forrest Barber, we spoke to him earlier about his substitute throttle man, John Tomlinson.
We're lucky to have Johnny filling in for us today. Sorry Charlie can't be here. He has a business commitment. But happy to run with John. He's in here for one race, and we hope we do well and make Charlie proud of us while he's out of town.
Have you made any changes at all to the boat since I last talked to you?
No, the boat's identical to the way it has been. Same equipment, just a little more experience and a different throttle man today.
And they're doing quite well as they lead in modified class just about halfway through this Superboat Challenge here in Nassau. The boat's now going out towards open sea once again. As we look from our helicopter, it's a big sweeping right turn. And the water has been just great. This has been a great weekend here in Nassau. Not only boat racing, but a lot of local color that we've enjoyed as well.
Let's go!
Welcome back, everybody. Along with Jim Hendrick, the Superboat Challenge in here in beautiful Nassau, Bahamas.
Down here with the president of Superboat International, John Carbonell. John, this is the wrap-up of your national high point season. Have you deemed this a successful year for SBI?
Sure have. We're real happy with all of the race sites that we race this year, and we've got them all locked in for the next 3 years, which is what we've been trying to do to give us a guaranteed schedule.
SBI with the word international in it, Superboat International. Now, we know Argentina. What's in the future?
Right now, we're talking with China, Hong Kong, Japan, Chile, Brazil, and a couple other sites.
John Carbonell, the leader of SBI, which stands for Superboat International, truly an international sport, and offshore powerboat racing getting its recognition around the world. As we look at the Alcone Motorsports, averaging about 111 miles an hour and leading the way overall of all of them. That Alcone from Newport Beach, California, in a 46-foot skater, twin 900 horsepower Sterling Performance engines.
Without a doubt, Jim, they are the boss on the water today. I know that Jerry Gilbreth burned the midnight oil going over this boat time and time again, meticulously looking for any kind of problem, so he wants to avoid what happened to him in New York.
And prior to the race, Stan Lane had a chance to talk to the team manager and the throttle man, Jerry Gilbreth, about this new haul.
The Alcone Motorsports racing team always at the cutting edge of innovation, and Jerry Gilbreth, the man beside me, plays the most important part in that. Jerry, a brand new skater, a beautiful boat, and you've done something entirely new this time as we pan down here. Tell us about this innovation on the stern here. Is it a wing? Is it aerodynamic, hydrodynamic? How does it work?
Well, you just about said it all. It's a wing and it is hydrodynamic. What we've done is we've extended the tunnel through the center of the boat so that we get more of a wing effect, which makes the boat fly flatter, and it'll penetrate the air with less horsepower drag.
We've also seen that the boat has a very, very flat ride attitude, which reduces further the wind friction.
That's correct. Our frontal area is totally decreased, and by running flat, we'll be able to penetrate the air at a much easier race. So I think you'll enjoy watching the way this boat runs. Also, being flat, when we do launch off of an occasional swell or two, instead of jumping way out of the water, height-wise, we'll land flat and continue our speed forward. So momentum going through the air, that's the most important thing with this new design.
Looking at the Alcone, leader overall, making a right turn on this course around Paradise Island. And running very smooth today as we look at Dan Lilly, the driver of Notorious, and his son Dan Jr. is at the throttles. They're currently in second place, averaging about 85 miles an hour. They'll run 74.5 miles around the Paradise Island today for this particular class. The leader in class, of course, is High Risk with Rick Felsen and his team.
Well, the Notorious boys, if they like this boat, and they should because they're doing very, very well, they are going to buy this boat and start racing it full time on the SBI circuit.
As they come under the bridge now, heading toward the west, they'll make a right turn shortly past the yachts.
That bridge is not supposed to have anybody up there, but these Bahamian fans are so avid, so rabid that they are up there watching this race, even though they're not supposed to be up there. They love SBI offshore action.
All along the shoreline of our pit area in Nassau, there's nothing but teams of people just bumper to bumper in the car division, shoulder to shoulder. They're enjoying this race, and they really love having us here.
As the Minister of Tourism said earlier, they plan for this race all year long. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, events of the year here in the Bahamas.
Looking at the Pittman photo, the throttle man is Mike Werner, and earlier we had a chance to talk to him. Mike, any particular strategy for today's race?
Well, we're just going to pretty much do what we did last year, just run as fast as we can run for the conditions. Last year, we ran full out for the whole course, except up at the one end where you come out of the pass. It really gets rough there. So we're going to back off a little bit there for the rough water, but other than that, we're just going to go for it.
Cannon Pittman Photo Express currently running second behind Performance Marine in the A class. And the third place boat is the Aquapure Water, which is the only Bahamian entry. As we look at the boats coming down through the channel where the ships are, it is a beautiful sight, beautiful part of the world here in the Grand Bahama Islands. Here's the Alcone, Sloppy Joe's first and second, Restore leading and modified. We've had just about the halfway point here in the Superboat Challenge in Nassau.
Dating 1990s, one of the historical tourist landmarks here in the Bahamas, the Queen's Staircase, said to have been cut from solid limestone. For Jim Hendrick, I'm Stan Lane. Welcome back, everybody, to SBI Offshore Action. You know, one of the most thankless but yet important jobs in SBI Offshore is that of chief referee. That is Mike Drury, and Jim spoke with him a little earlier.
A referee in basketball, a referee in football, an umpire in baseball, we know what they do, we know what the signs mean. But in boat racing, a little difficult. Mike Drury is the chief referee for this sport. Now, Mike, what do you call penalties on?
Well, Jim, there's obviously infractions in the course if they miss a buoy or they're not scored correctly. And, of course, you get into the technical aspect of it, whether the engines and equipment is legal. I think the main thing here is I can either assess a penalty for a monetary amount, which most of these guys can obviously pay without a problem, or you can get into the time penalty, which actually will just take a national championship or a win away from them.
We're looking at Lightning Jack in the modifieds and Rick Felson in the high risk. And there's our leaderboard as we're at the halfway point of the Superboat International Challenge here in Grand Bahamas, Nassau to be exact.
Obviously, there's a problem with M5 Lightning Jacks because very rarely do you see a P-boat dicing it out with a modified boat. So there's got to be some problem. Now Lightning Jacks, though, starting to open it up.
And coming into view right now is the Haviline Sean Lanier, son of the famous Errol Lanier.
Oh, yeah, the wily veteran. A little play on words there, Wally Nagler. The water's starting to roughen up here in the chute area, Jim. As you can see, the water bouncing back and forth off the yachts and off the seawall on the near side. And getting a about 2-foot chop, which is just ideal for a V-bottom. And there's a V-bottom right there. The JH Electric Lip Ship Special followed very, very close by Mystifier. They've been battling out, duking it out, bow to bow all year long.
Mystifier currently in second place as we look at the Sarasota team of the Trident. Earlier today, Stan Lane had a chance to talk to the team driver.
Here was driver Phil Esposito, the Aerotech 32-foot Team Triton boat. Guys, your first race this year for SBI, but being a champion is certainly no stranger to your team.
Absolutely. We're very familiar with the waters. We've been out here with the AX boat that we've been campaigning all last year, and which we're national champs of. And this year we're just bringing the old girl out and going to have some fun today.
This boat has been around for quite some time, but it's been a very, very successful hull.
Absolutely. We're very pleased with the performance of it, the new Thunderstruck engines, and we feel we're very competitive.
And competitive they are as they currently lead in B class right now halfway through the race. Team Hog's Breath is second in class as we're aboard the Restore, the leader right now in the modifieds.
Well, if you looked up competitive in the dictionary, you might see a picture of this boat and this team. I tell you what, Forrest Barber has spared no expense all year long to put this boat in the lead, and that they certainly are. And they've been in the lead almost the entire year. They've got the points. They want that national championship in the worst kind of way.
You know, they're considering possibly, they're going to make a decision here shortly, moving up to the Super Limiteds next year.
There you see Rick Felson, the P-boat, triple outboard horsepower. Rick's been around a long, long time. He is a great throttle man, of course, owner. Earlier, my colleague Jim Hendrick had a chance to talk to Rick about his strategy in the high-risk boat.
The top 3 P-boats are here for SBI Racing. Is there any particular strategy for your team?
Well, strategy is always the same for my team. We go out and we try to win. You know that. And that's what we're going to do again. We did it in, 2 years ago? Last year we took a second. We found out later in Key West that maybe that first place boat had a little special motors that we didn't know about. But all these boats here are legal, and it should be a real close and exciting race. And I'm glad to be back.
Rick Felson from the great state of New York as he bounces around his open cockpit high risk, and from our helicopter you can see how closely some of these boats are grouped as they head east on the open waters of the Atlantic Ocean. You know, it's great competition, SBI style. Offshore racing, always exciting. They have great teams, and they're kind of a close-knit group. In fact, every event has a social function, whether it be a cocktail party, snack, dancing, entertainment. They play hard and they work hard. Right now, this is the time you can see John Carbonell and Drury, of course, Mike Drury, our referee. And there's our famous movie star that was on hand, Philip Michael Thomas, and of course the Alcones. What is this, a second honeymoon in the Bahamas?
That's a kiss for good luck.
And we'll be back with more racing in the Bahamas in just a moment. Back to Superboat International Racing in the Bahamas, Nassau to be exact. Jim Hendrick along with Stan Lane.
It is indeed a pleasure to be here with Senator the Honorable Calvin Johnson, the Parliamentary Secretary, Minister of Tourism here in the Bahamas. Sir, thank you so much for having SBI here. As always, a great venue.
Well, first, let me say thank to you for being here. I am a big fan of ESPN. I watch you all the time, and I'm happy now to have this opportunity to say a few words to you.
On behalf of John Carbonell and the entire SBI family, we look forward to many more years of this great race.
Well, we are very, very excited about this race. This is the third race here in the Bahamas. The Bahamian people are excited. We are getting worldwide exposure. People are traveling to the Bahamas to see the race, and it's exciting. You know, you can feel it in the air. Nassau is bubbling.
And so are we, Senator Calvin Johnson. Thank you for your time, and thank you for having us. It's a beautiful spot on Earth as we come down around Paradise Island looking at the V-22 JH Lipship Special. That's the boat, of course, owned by Jack Herrick. And he's in leader in class right now as he's about to pass the beautiful Atlantis Hotel, one of our sponsors, with a great big beach. Errol Lanier, the veteran, is on hand to talk about his new boat.
Well, there's not too many pros, cons or anything, because it's a different design altogether. It's a surface drive. It was one of the first surface drives that Howard built. And the boat has to be designed for this particular drive. In other words, most of the some of the other boats are designed for Mercury-type propellers. They don't have the lifting in boat, because this drive does not do a lot for either picking up the bow. It'll push it down, but it's hard to pick it up. But we make allowances for that in the bottom of the boat, and Howard's got some trim plates that we're fixing to change and put on this that will actually pick the bow up or put it down, depends on the trim ability of the boat. And that was the only drawback with this, is the boat really has to be designed for an Arneson type drive.
We talked about trim. Now tell us a little bit about the steering features of this drive.
Well, the steering is bulletproof. It's got one cylinder here, and it's just a massive cylinder, and it turns it left or right, and it can't break. You can see the size of it. It's 3 inches in diameter. Trim cylinder is 3 inches in diameter, and it's got a 1-inch shaft in it. It's just bulletproof, and that's what really racers need. We don't have to rebuild this thing every time they go out and have a race. They got to come back and spend $12,000 or whatever to rebuild everything.
All right, we're looking at the Sloppy Joes with Art and Mike Gerard, the father and son team, averaging about 108 miles an hour and still not able to catch the Alcone, who is leader in class ahead of them.
Oh, great shot from our helicopter cam. They were right down there, almost inside the cockpit, extremely close. Great action here, SBI style.
All right, now we're looking at Fast Fast.
Now, these two boats are in different classes. This, of course, is a S boat being followed closely and passed now by the P boat, P69 Notorious. Fast Fast having a very, very good race. This boat extremely similar to the Amico Patriot boat.
P-class and an S-class, and they're just about side by side in smooth water, and you can see the different size boats and, of course, different horsepower. 3 engines on one and 2 on the other. And now coming into view is Roger Rex in the Rage. They currently are in first place in the Super Limited, leading the Riveted and averaging about 3 miles an hour faster. As we look at the S-Boat, that is the Patriot, second to Vito's Team Stalker at the current time. They'll have to negotiate about 65 miles today, and they're getting close to the end of that.
Jumping up now in class to the modified, of course, Bill Durham, driver of Lightning Jack's 36-foot skater cat. This boat doesn't appear to be riding as smoothly as it normally does. I talked to him earlier about the changes.
Well, everything leads up to the World Championships, and every race we have something slightly different about the boat. We're constantly tuning it in, adjusting it, making it faster and more handling.
Lightning Jacks currently second behind Vito's Team Stalker. And there's our leaderboard with about 2 more laps to go in some of the classes. We'll be back in just a moment. Harbor underneath the bridge that separates from Paradise Island.
This is an extremely fast boat, 36-foot skater, but he is being passed right now by Joey Padovano in the Mountain Dew Team Pepsi boat, the 40-foot skater.
Both are modified, and they're giving the fans along the shoreline a good look at competition, modified style, as we look at Sloppy Joe's second to the Alcone Motorsports in the Superboat division.
Well, fresh off a victory, Jim, as you know, in New York at the last race, they are hungry for another victory here at the National Championships. Jumping back into P class, notorious father-son team, Dan Lilly Jr. and Sr. There's a very interesting story behind this team and the boat that they may, in fact, buy.
Dan, I understand this is kind of a test run to see if your dad and you are going to buy this boat.
That's correct. We've never been in this boat. We've raced against this boat in our skater called Defender. This is like a test run, and depending how well we do in this race and how the boat rides will determine what we decide to do as far as maybe purchasing it or going forward from there.
Looking at Notorious as he makes his turn out into open waters coming out of the harbor. Now we're looking at Lightning Jack again. Seems to be riding just a little bit better is the M5 at this particular time.
Yeah, they're definitely back up on power now, and they're trying to close the gap on Forrest Barber, John Tomlinson, and Restore.
Underneath the bridge in the harbor they go. What a beautiful shot. Our helicopter pilot and our cameraman on the ball. Looking at Riveted, second in class. They're completing lap number 6 of 8. They've gone from 90 up to 97 mile an hour. They're improving every single lap, really stretching that boat.
Well, Bahamas race is typically rough on the outside and smooth on the inside, so we got the boat set up to go any way the water wants to go.
As we look at the Riveted boat, Ken Silverman, the throttle man, giving us a little insight of their pre-race strategy.
Well, the strategy for this team apparently is just phenomenal. They've led wire to wire. And we're down to 1 lap remaining. If they can keep this boat together, no problems, they will indeed be national champions.
The checker flags are waiting for all the victors in the various classes here today. We'll be back with the exciting conclusion in just a moment. The 1997 Atlantis Super is brought to you by the Atlantis Hotel Casino. The ocean runs through it. And by the islands of the Bahamas. It just keeps getting better. I'm Jim Hendrick along with Stan Lane as we look down from our helicopter shot of the harbor. The checker flags are waiting. Actor Philip Michael Thomas, who you talked to earlier, is standing by to bring home the winners.
Huge smile across his face. He loves SBI Offshore. He loves this racing. They used to run those Scarabs, you know, in Miami Vice, but these boats are so much faster and so much more exciting. What a great race it's been. And Alcone is, in fact, our leader, our winner. He's the national champion, Jim.
The Superboat International season started in Argentina, and this team, the Alcone team, with a different hull, won the first 4 events of 1997. They switched to this hull in New York. It didn't perform quite up to expectations. They brought it here today, easy, wire-to-wire win. They are the SBI 1997 World Champions. Now let's go down to the docks, and let's talk to all the winners of this Nassau event.
Matt, Jerry, and Hope, flawless race once again. The new hull performed just, I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, just out here it felt great. It was a little wider, so it was stable. It got a lot of air underneath it, so we were really able to fly. Felt great.
You and I a little earlier talked about this brand new design, that state-of-the-art stern, and it performed for you today, Jerry.
Exactly the way we had it planned. Everything worked out fine.
Hope you've got to be very, very happy as well.
I'm very happy, very proud.
Congratulations.
Pretty good victory, Rage. They ran tough all day, and I'll tell you what, Roger, it looks like you had it pretty well handled right from the start.
We had a bad start. It took us a little bit, but we recovered by the end of the first lap, and I think the boat just treated us right and ran well.
Scott, do you have any problems out there with that water?
No problems with the water at all. We had an ECU box go bad, and we slowed down a little bit. We were still able to keep going, and thanks to all our sponsors here, Burger King and Sydney Out-In, and everything ran great. We had a good year.
Forrest, Johnny, flawless race. How was it out there?
It was just a wonderful day. We had a great race. The boat ran perfectly. Johnny did a real good job on the boat, and we had a real good time.
Charlie Hames, of course, absent, but, brother, you're one of the top throttle men in the business, and you did a great job today, Johnny.
Yeah, I got to thank the Lord for just keeping us safe here. And I filled in for Charlie today. He couldn't make it, and everything worked out well. A good, safe race, great city to have a race in. What a show.
Raise that flag and shake it for us. You guys got to be happy. All right.
Yes, sir. All right, what's next? All right, Jack, you said beginning, you just had to make the start, and then you would win, but you said, I'm going to race today the Mystifier.
That's correct, and we did race the Mystifier. He gave us quite a tough time. First of all, we didn't think he was going to start at all, which really was a disappointment to us because we really wanted to come in. We really came to race, and we really wanted to prove that we really are number one. We want to thank TNT for getting the boat all ready and serviced up, and Philly with the lip ship performance, and the boys at JH Electric for splitting loose with some of the money. We want to thank the right Frainer for writing the check. Billy, what do you got to say?
It was a great season. We won 5 of the 6 races, second in the other race, and doesn't get much better than that. We'd like to thank our driver Brett that was with us most of the season and couldn't make it today. Scott Lehman stepped in for him and finished up in the same style we started out.
Ray, fantastic race. The old boat performed just like she always does, flawlessly.
It was great. It really ran well. The Thunderstruck engines, you know, they're not even up to the cubic inches of the new engines, and we still pulled through, and it's reliable horsepower, and that's what we needed.
Haven't seen you guys in a while, but you're back in a big way.
We've been around, but we just haven't been here. We love the Bahamas, and we love Superboat, and John Carbonell did a great job. And thanks to Phil Esposito with Thunderstruck engines, they pulled us through.
Looking forward to seeing you guys in the Keys.
Thank you, buddy. All right, Rick, you predicted a victory, and you're right.
I'm right? That's a compliment coming from you. I'm right. I'm not old, I'm not legendary, I'm right this race.
Tell me about the water conditions.
The water conditions were calm, but there was a wind factor. If you used the wind, it was kind of exciting. It just kind of like took you to the checkpoints. But if you fought the wind, you dropped the sponsons, you lost the speed. But the boat ran pretty well today. It was exciting. I tried to say hello to Bertie Lindell, the Budweiser boat. You know, I got within 3 feet of him, but I don't know, he didn't have any beer for me. Yeah, but it was a good race. And my driver, number 3 driver, Russ Houston, he did a real good job, and I'm happy to have him with me this race.
Guys, tremendous race. Nip and tuck with Patriot almost the whole way, but you persevered.
Yeah, it was a battle out there, I'll tell you that. I saw that guy right on our tail. A couple laps through the race. We're down in horsepower a little bit on one motor. Very lucky today to pull this one out.
I thought you guys might be having a little bit of problem because you slowed down there towards the end, but you hang in there.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. That engine was about to let us down, and luckily it pulled through. And we were able to get another victory for Vito's in Marco Island and Koosman's Worldwide. This is our 3rd victory here, so we've won 3 years in a row, and it's great.
Your winners in A-class, guys. Tremendous race, and you had their brother duo on there today.
Yes, we did. The other guy couldn't make it, and I just filled in.
You said it before, if you have to, you will dare to air. Did you get much air out there today, Pat?
No, Stan, today we didn't get much air. We were hooked up, running well. It was a good race. Had a couple problems, fell back, got back in the lead, and that's why we're here with the checkered flag. All in all, a good day.
Not only the flag, but some champagne for you as well, guys. Great victory.
Thank you.
Now let's check all the classes. The winner for the National Championship, Alcone Motorsports for 1997, Rage takes the Superboat Limited class over the Sea Escape and the rest of the teams. JH Electric Lip Ship is now the Super V class champion. Restore Marine in the modified class is the winner for the season. In the Pro 1 class, Kamikaze, who burned today, still ends up with enough points to be the champion SBI style for 1997. Team's Hog Breath is the B-class champion. Patriot takes the S-class in Superboat International Racing. And in the Production A-class, it is Performance Marine by a scant margin over Pittman Photo. A viewing reminder, the Key West World Championships will be seen on ESPN2 Saturday, December 6th at 1 o'clock Eastern, with a repeat showing on Tuesday, December 9th. Accommodations provided by the Atlantis Hotel and Casino. Airline travel provided by Paradise Island Airlines. On behalf of Stan Lane, I'm Jim Hendrick from Nassau in the Bahamas. So long.